Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Looks like I got my sound all the way up. So, let me cut out the echo here. And first of all, let me look. I'm making coffee in the background, so if y'all hear my coffee maker making noise, it is what it is. Sorry, guys. All right. So, another 10 minutes of talk episode with Nina Capone, y'all. And today, if you haven't seen it already, we are talking about first knowledge and why it actually matters in consulting. So, for those who don't know, I am a consultant. That's my core business. That's what I do. I'm also the owner in the Streets Radio, of course. And I wanted to just kind of get into what it is that I do. There's a speaker who's actually on Instagram, I believe, a lot. Can't think of his name offhand. He does a lot of speaking in Nigeria, and he talks about first knowledge, which is something that I actually kind of specialize in. I'm gonna say, it's one of the things that is the core of my consulting. If you work with me, you know I'm a get to it person. Let's get to it. Let's not mess around. What do you know about it? Let's make it happen. So I want to kind of get a little take a deeper dive into that. Why I am the way I am and why I do what I do. So for those who never engage me, welcome. For those who've been here before, you already know. Let's get to it. We got 10 minutes. Let's talk. And today we are literally diving into a topic that is near and dear to my heart: first knowledge. What does that mean? Why? So I know you're sitting there thinking, like, here she go with her another term that she got or whatever. Well, grab your coffee, your tea, whatever gets you going, because you're going to need it, right? So I want to get into the digital apocalypse, what's happening right now, right? And why first knowledge matters, why it's so important. So I want you to picture this. We're now living in a digital apocalypse, right? No zombies eating your brains, and this is much scarier than that. Technology eating your sanity. I don't really talk about this much, but I think it's something that I needed to touch on. So think about the technology that's eating your sanity. Is that happening to you? If that's happening to you, you're not the only one. You're not alone. Because right now, I believe that people are overwhelmed with apps and gadgets and platforms and anything else you can mention. And then here you got me coming in, your neighborhood consultant coming in telling you, let's start a podcast, right? Um, but here's the thing: do you even know what a podcast really is? I wanted to pause for a minute to give you a moment to think. Do you? If you think it's just two people with microphones talking about their pets, cats, or Houston, we definitely got a problem, okay? So, what is a podcast? And I want you to reflect on that. I'm not going to get into it. I think I explained it enough, and I've had enough podcasts talking about what a podcast is from here. So, I'm using that to lead into first knowledge. And first knowledge is all about understanding the basics. Okay? It's like learning to ride a bike before you try jumping through a flaming hoop. Right? You don't want to ride your bike through flaming hoops, and you're not really sure how to ride the bike yet, right? And trust me, there's a lot of flaming hoops when it comes to technology in this old digital world, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about my consulting journey. Mind you, we have 10 minutes, so I won't get too deep into this, but I want to try to jump as deep in as possible. So let me take you back to my journey as a business and technology consultant, because that's my title. In the beginning of my career, I used to dive straight into the nitty gritty. Boom, let's get it. Setting up systems, optimizing your workflow, you name it. Let's get to the money. Because a lot of people they contact me and say, look, Nina, I want to get to the money. I want to get the bag. Let's get it. But then I realized something crucial was missing. So what it was like baking a cake without knowing what flour is. You cannot succeed if you don't understand the fundamentals. You cannot succeed in business if you don't understand the fundamentals of your business. You cannot succeed in music if you don't understand the fundamentals of music. You cannot succeed in rap if you don't understand the fundamentals of rap. You can't succeed in modeling if you don't understand the fundamentals of modeling, and I can go on and on. You can't succeed in podcasting without understanding the fundamentals of podcasting. And that's the moment that I realized that I needed to implement or take a new approach, which is the first knowledge approach. So let's play around with it. Imagine you wanted to start a podcast. Great idea, right? Because I know a lot of people feel like this. I want to start a podcast. I want to talk about this. I want to do this. And everybody, we make it look so easy that everybody think they can do it, right? I've been doing this for a long time. So people are like, oh, I can jump in. I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to monetize it. I'm going to make this money. But do you even know the history of podcasts? Do you know why they became popular? So it's not just about talking into a microphone, talking about, what you did, what you want to do, who's who, blah, blah, blah. And of course, yes, it comes easy to some, but not to all. A podcast is about storytelling. You want to engage your audience. If you're listening to me right now, you're probably engaged because I feel so passionate about it, right? And of course, y'all heard me in the beginning dealing with the weird echo in the background of the recording or whatever. Like, because I don't have my mic set up. I jumped on the computer after a meeting and I said, I'm going to do this podcast. I'm going to talk about first knowledge today. This is just what I wanted to do. So here's a funny story. I had a client who wanted to create an app, right? So again, yes, technology is my thing. That's what I do. They thought it was like baking cookies. You get some code and you put the code in, whatever. You throw in some features and boom, you got an app. But what they didn't understand is the basic components of app development. So I had to sit them down and explain everything from user interface to back-end systems and everything in between. So it was like teaching a fish to ride a bike. But guess what? They got it. And their app was actually successful. Now, I had clients who came in who had a pre-made app but didn't understand the interface or the back end. They didn't understand it, so their app was not successful. And I watch them to this day, and it's still not successful. But it can be if they had taken the time to learn the fundamentals. Or even listen to me as they hired me to do my job. They kept bringing in other people. And eventually they were like, this is costing us too much. And I was like, cool, all right, bye, peace. Because that's just what it is. Knowledge is power. Yes, I said it. Knowledge is power, people. Remember that the next time you want to drive into a new project or build a new website or a new mobile app or start a podcast or start a new business. So whether it's a podcast strategy, a business strategy, or even just learning how to make the perfect cup of coffee, right? So we got promoters. I can go listen a million businesses, but even if you just want to do something as making a pot of ground roast coffee, understand where it comes from first. Okay, that's so important. I can't stress that enough. So to wrap it up, what's first knowledge? First knowledge is literally understanding where something comes from. So why do I focus my consulting on first knowledge? Well, great question. Because without it, you're just shooting in the dark. You need a solid foundation before building anything worthwhile. I had to research how books and I write workbooks. I had to research, how workbooks are created and generated and why they work and who they work for and what industry. I had to do a lot of research before I created my workbook. I didn't just say I'm going to create a workbook. This is just it. I'm going to put it out there. It's going to sell because I'm dope and I got this great information. No. I needed to understand a solid foundation behind workbooks and why they worked in my field for my niche and the reason I was doing it. Okay, so if you're going to build anything worthwhile, make sure you understand the solid foundation of it. And in this digital apocalypse that we live in, knowing your stuff can get you a can get you a lot of headaches eliminated. you know you want to make sure that you know what you're walking into at all times. You are going to face a few hair pulling moments for sure. You're going to go crazy. You're going to be like, oh my god, I'm about to pull my hair out, because that's literally what I say all the time. But if you know your stuff, you could save yourself time. You could save yourself a bundle of money. If I didn't know how to program, I would not have Industries Radio. This station would not exist. If I didn't know how to program, I would not have been able to build the skill for to put our platform on Amazon or the mobile apps, so we can have you guys reach us anyhow, anyway. Okay. That's all the time I have. Oh my goodness, this 10 minutes goes so fast. So that's all the time I have for today, you guys. Thank you for tuning in to 10 Minutes to Talk with the one and only your girl, Nina Capone. Remember, you can catch this episode on our mobile app. You can catch it on In the Streets Radio, the website. We have the 10 Minutes to Talk podcast there. You can also catch us anywhere. Just type in 10 Minutes to Talk and you'll be able to find us. So stay informed, stay empowered, and keep hustling. Okay? Keep hustling, y'all. It's your girl, Nina Capone. I'm out for the day. It's coffee time. Peace.